In the Mount Rushmore of movie directors, arguably you could have Spielberg, Hitchcock, Tarantino. One name that would surely be vying for a place sculpted out of rock would be Martin Scorsese. From directing his first short in 1959 to his epic Oscar-winning movies, Scorsese has become an icon of cinema, gritty, controversial, crowd-pleasing and challenging. Scorsese never compromises, but does create movies that will live on forever. Here's Neil, hi Neil, with 10 Scorsese facts.
Thank you very much, Pav. So, number one, Scorsese's severe asthma as a child prevented him from playing sports, so he spent much of his time watching movies, which then sparked his love for the cinema.
Sorry, I completely balls that up.
Well, I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Before becoming a filmmaker, Scorsese considered becoming a priest and even attended a seminary, but he eventually decided to pursue a film career instead.
Well, who the hell else are you talking? Talking to me?
Scorsese has an encyclopedic knowledge of film history, and his passion for cinema extends to nearly every genre and era. He's a major advocate for film preservation.
That went longer than I thought.
Great bit. Scorsese has collaborated with Robert De Niro on 10 films and Leonardo DiCaprio on 6, creating some of the most iconic characters in cinema.
That championship belt on me, that's what I told him.
Scorsese's editor, Thelma Schoonmaker, I hope I pronounced that right, has been with him since Raging Bull 1980. She's won 3 Oscars for editing his films.
Got this rat, this gnawing, key-eating fucking rat.
Scorsese directed the famous documentary The Last Waltz, chronicling the final concert of the band, and has made several other music documentaries showcasing his love for rock music.
This summer, people aren't freezing to death in New York.
The Taxi Driver in 1976, Scorsese instructed the camera operator to be the bullet during the film's climax, creating the visceral first-person perspective.
Mark this down in the prefix file code.
Prefix code, right.
Scorsese frequently makes cameo appearances in his films, a habit shared by many other famous directors. For example, in Taxi Driver, he plays the man in the back of the cab.
The kingdom of heaven is enough.
You're a liar.
And despite his legendary status, Scorsese didn't win his first Academy Award for Best Director until 2007 for The Departed, after being nominated 5 times previously.
Schmucko Supremo last night.
Hold on a minute, I'm the schmuck.
And there you are, 10
that
facts.
That was
10
9
facts.
That was 9 facts.
Is it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So did I? Well, because I've only done 9. I've got one more sound left.
Which would be
Oh, well,
worse?
didn't you balls up at the beginning with the music though, didn't you?
Live
But
as a monster.
I still played the Never
Oh,
He's a
mind.
good man.
Definitely there, look. 10 facts.
Never mind. It
I don't
doesn't
know what
matter.
happened there.
It
I was just
doesn't
looking,
matter
did I not-
because Neil is back, ladies and gentlemen. He's here. He's weird. Let's get used to it. That's what I'm going to say. It's lovely to have you back, Neil.
Maybe I did misreading one out. Maybe I did. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it is like old times, to be fair, because
Yeah.
you were here last week for the 150th episode.
Oh,
So,
yes. I forgot about that. It's been a
forgot-
long
and
week.
it was only a week ago, wasn't it?
It's been a
in
long week.
The magic of podcasting.
But as they say, hey, what you going to do about it?
Is that what they say?
Yeah,
Is
in the
that-
Scorsese
in a Scorsese movie, they probably will.
Yeah.
That's right. Before we start, I want to just say hello to Anna, who is our new Patreon top head. So hello, Anna. Now,
Oh, thank you very much,
I'm
Anna.
assuming that's how it's ANA. So would that be Anna as opposed to Anna?
Anna? I don't know.
I don't know.
Whichever.
But anyway, thank you so much for becoming a Patreon top head, Anna. Bless your heart. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely.
So we're here to talk Scorsese movies.
Yeah. Now, you might have heard me say Scorsese or Scorsese, which is what I heard The man himself, on an interview recently, which I was watching about cinemas, how he pronounced it himself.
So how did he say it? Scorsese.
Almost, well, not quite, but it wasn't like Scorsese, as we would say. It's
Okay.
called Scorsese.
Okay.
It's quite, yeah. And I thought, okay, I will try that to honour the man himself, who actually is probably one of my favourite directors.
Now, I was going to say, we did our top 10 directors a couple of months ago with Rick, I believe it is, Top Head Rick.
Okay.
And he was number 3 in my top 10.
Yeah.
Where would he be in your top 10 if you had to work out your top 10 sort of right now? Where would he be?
If I did it right now, probably number 2.
Ooh, above, and who would be above him?
I'd probably go for Spielberg overall, but not now Spielberg. For film directing, this is what we're talking about, direction.
That is right.
I probably would go for Spielberg.
Okay.
Just because I think the man was untouchable to the 2000s.
Yeah.
Now is a different matter, but I think in the, even in the 90s and the 80s, that man knew how to direct a blockbuster, a drama, a serious movie, and things like that. He had just everything. And I don't think he had a duff film. You could argue 1941 maybe.
Okay.
But I don't think he had a duff film until nearly the 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not here to talk about Spielberg,
No.
obviously.
No, I was just trying to just say. I mean, it probably could
mention-
change the next day, but I'll put Spielberg today.
Yeah, he was my number 3, which I think for me, I was looking at his movies. Now, there's a lot of his movies I haven't seen for a long, long time.
Yeah, there's a couple that I haven't.
But there were some that are in my top 10 that I know that when I watch them, I really enjoyed them, but they're not particularly rewatchable movies.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, a lot of them are. Yeah.
There's a couple that I've got in my top 10 that I've watched more than probably 5 times because I enjoy them so much. So
Yeah, I was going to say easily.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of them, yeah.
So before we carry on with anything else, we've got to do this.
Lisa's challenge.
What the fuck are you saying?
Okay, thank you, Lisa, for that. So Lisa's challenge. How many duplicates do you think we're going to get in this top 10, Neil?
Oh, as in whether we got them in the same position or just in the top 10?
Just as in.
I'm going to go a high 5.
Ooh, 5.
Because I think he's got enough films in there that might.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
I'll go high.
Well, that's controversial for me because I'm going to go 7.
Wow. Okay.
I think there's going to be a lot. We're going to have a lot that's the same. I think there's.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can see in my top 10 there's going to be definitely 5, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think that there's going to. I'm going for a big number there. So in regards to Scorsese, then, what would you say is your favourite era of Scorsese? Are you looking at his earlier stuff, or are you looking at more? I will say, I've not seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet.
Nor have I yet, because I haven't got Apple.
Right, and I've had 4 trips on a plane this year where Killers of the Flower Moon was like on the entertainment system, and I still never watched it.
No.
Which is a perfect time to watch like a 3-hour movie because you got nothing else to do, and I just never got round to it. So a bit silly, really.
Yeah, no, I really want to watch that one as well because that's De Niro and Caprio together.
Together,
isn't it?
it is.
And a friend, I've spoken to friends who've seen it, and they just said, "Neil, you're gonna love it.
Really,
you're gonna really love it."
Yeah, I kind of feel it's one thing I missed, an opportunity missed there. But yeah, so with the question, which era do you find is Scorsese's best?
I don't know. I might even say,
or is it just that he's been consistently
in my eyes? Because I was just looking at my top 10. So we go 90s, 2000s, and through, and then 70s, 70s, and 80s, and there's 80s in there. And I don't know. I genuinely don't know because I think he's got a banger from every era myself.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it was kind of a stupid question, really, because I was looking at my top 10, and again, there's a couple of up-to-date ones, a couple from the 70s, a couple from the 80s. So, yeah, it's it's a consistently good bit of work. I think there's like a lot. There's nobody. My number one for directors was Tarantino, because I don't think he's had a dud movie.
No, there's been movies that what's the one? What was it called? I can't even think what it's called now. Where it's almost set in The Silence. I don't think it's a dud movie.
Yeah,
you know the one with Liam Neeson, and I watched that, but I didn't. I found it dragged.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was talking about Tarantino hasn't had a dud movie.
Oh, sorry.
That's why he was my number one. But,
okay.
But the majority, like you said about Spielberg, is like I can't think of the last movie that I've watched of Spielberg's that wasn't in his like golden era going up to say 2000. Anything post 2000, I don't think I've watched a full Spielberg movie.
No, there's always something in them. I mean, probably the one I enjoyed, I really enjoyed a Spielberg.
Right.
I think that worked really well for me of recent ones. Catch Me If You Can, probably.
Yeah, no, Catch Me If You Can is a good one.
As you know, I didn't like The Terminal at all. I just thought that was, I wouldn't even have thought that was a Spielberg movie. That Ready Player 8 Spielberg was awful.
Ready Player 1.
That's it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Ready. I'm on the sequels already.
I'm sitting through 7 more of those fuckers, that's for sure.
Yeah, awful.
Jesus.
But yeah, I haven't seen, even his Tintin was a bit like, nah.
Yeah.
It looked beautiful, but nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, we've gone on to Spielberg. I don't know how we got to Spielberg. This is the top 10
it's all
Scorsese.
connected. I mean, the fact is Spielberg and Scorsese are friends. They were in the same school with Francis Ford Coppola and all of them. They were all in the same sort of school of
And
era.
again, so from my intro, I'm saying that like if you had 4 directors that would go on the what do they call it? What is it?
The Rushmore.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore of directors, who would you have?
Well,
would Scorsese make it?
I think so. I think he would. I would probably. They would have to be American, wouldn't they? Because it's Rushmore. Because I would say that arguably you could put Hitchcock up there, but he's not really American, is he? So
if you went for the top American directors, Spielberg would have to be.
Yeah,
I think
Spielberg would be up there.
Scorsese
for me.
Yeah. Tarantino,
yeah.
And who would be the 4th?
Who else did you say in your list?
I said Hitchcock, but I mean I wasn't thinking about it as in regards to. I was just thinking about it as greatest directors.
So I think Coppola warrants a lot of respect for what he did with all The Godfather, Conversation, and all through there. But in his later films, did he? And that Megatropolis or whatever. Have you seen?
Yeah, it looks mad.
Bizarre.
Yeah. Kubrick.
There's a shout.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a tough one.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
we're
not gonna make him at Mount Rushmore, but it's a talking piece, definitely.
Absolutely. I'd like to ask that question again. It's like in a few months' time and see whether it's the same people that would go up.
Indeed. Okay, let's kick off then, Neil, with your number 10. So,
it's a remake. That Scorsese did. It's Cape Fear. I nearly said Deep Fear. Cape Fear.
Okay, that's my number 6.
Okay.
So we've got one already.
Now, this is one I hadn't seen for a while because I was a huge fan of the original and still do like the original. If you've ever seen it, I say go and watch it because it's fantastic. And Scorsese did such a great job with the remake as well. And I watched this literally in preparation for this about 3 weeks ago. And I'd forgotten how fucking good this is. I mean, even though it's at number 10 here, everyone else, good all shuffle. But
De Niro was he's so creepy,
and such a performance. I mean, the method acting in that, we all know that he got himself absolutely jacked up, or whatever they call it, beefed up, and everything. But watching it again, it's Nick Nolte is really good in it. We forget how good he is in that.
Yeah.
And Juliette Lewis, being that was her sort of breakthrough role. And that girl was a wonder. Because
how old was she in that?
I think it was like 15, wasn't she? 14.
And that scene
15.
where he kisses her and stuff
it's the thumb.
And it's the thumb. It is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, but rightly so. But they wouldn't do that now, would they? Yeah, they wouldn't probably film that now. But it was so well done and but the whole thing, the only thing that lets it down is a bit on the riverboat at the end, gets a bit sort of Hollywoodized,
formulaic.
Yeah. But the rest of it, how they get there and everything like that, you forget all the bits where he's underneath the car, strapped up. And also, it's one of the best parodies in The Simpsons, isn't it?
Yes, with Silent Bob.
So, yeah.
Not Silent Bob. Sideshow Bob.
Exactly, isn't it? Silent Bob. I don't remember him in The Simpsons. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic film and warrants being up there a lot more than it is. Because when people talk about Scorsese, they don't instantly talk about Cape Fear. And I think it's one that really needs the talk that it deserves.
Yeah, and I think it shows his skill as well, that he can take a remake and make it. I mean, obviously, the original was from a different time anyway, so he updates it. I forgot that Jessica Lange was in it.
That's right.
She's the wife, isn't she?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, De Niro was. That's why I love De Niro, is that he can play different people, and that was somebody that I don't think I've ever seen him play an unsettling character like that. Since not
Angel
that intense,
Heart, Mabel,
but not that intense. I mean, that one is more of a simmering, brooding kind of performance. This one was just a total psychopath.
Yeah, I think he's the most psychotic in that one that I've ever seen, and I can think of at the top of my head. But yeah, what a performance, and everybody in it, and visually stunning. And the fact that Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum were in the remake as well, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It's one of those ones that it's been a while since I've seen it, but
highly recommend going back to it.
But I can remember watching it that first time, and even that bit at the end where you're saying that it's a bit like Hollywood fun. It's the fact that you can see the top part of his head. Spoilers if you've not seen it, but the top part of is it Max Cady? Was that his name?
That's it, yeah.
The top part of his head when I'm assuming he's drowning, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's just so unsettling because he just sort of is led there or sitting there or standing there or whatever it is, just below the waterline, and it's just so freaky,
creepy, and all those tattoos all over. Just look the part.
And again, you watch it, and it's the bit in the cinema which was parodied by The Simpsons.
Yeah,
where he's just laughing. Oh dear, that's a good one to kick us off with, and we've got one already. Look, we've got one already in the top 10 that we've got as a duplicate. My number 10, I'm going for one of his more recent ones, The Irishman.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I think anything when it's going to have de-aging or anything like that, I think you have to park because it's still not quite there.
No, but this is one of the better examples.
It definitely is one of the better ones. But the problem you have when you do that is, I don't know how old is Robert De Niro.
Oh, he's got to be in his 70s easily.
It's got to be easily, if not like late 70s.
Yeah, easily.
And the same thing happened with the latest Indiana Jones movie when they de-aged Harrison Ford. They still move like a 78-year-old man. So when they've got this de-aged Robert De Niro, which, like you say, and Joe Pesci, it looks good, it looks great, but when they start moving, they just walk like they have a gait of a 78-year-old man. So it doesn't quite work. So you have to kind of push that to one side. But to me, it's all the stuff that Scorsese does really, really well. As in it's the minutiae of the gangster world, and it's the same as Tarantino. The one thing I love about Scorsese, I'm going to keep saying it like that now, is the fact that he doesn't care if something is 3 hours long. If that's how he wants to tell the story, then it's the fact that it doesn't cut things off. Things are played out it's
non-apologetic.
Yes,
and it
isn't. Gives it time to breathe. And I think there's sometimes when the worst thing is when you have an action movie that goes on and on and on, and you just get bored of it. When it's something like that, I feel like that, and something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, where it's just that plot driven,
it just gives you, and you can just sit back and enjoy the acting. And when you've got Pacino, De Niro, Pesci, I think
Harvey
Keitel, Stephen Graham is fantastic in it. And I think he's such a good actor, Stephen Graham.
He's so versatile.
Oh my God,
he?
He's one of those guys that when he's in a movie or a TV series, he makes it so much better because he just is something completely different. So for me, it's a movie that I know I was reading some of the reviews and they were saying how it's boring and it's too
That
long.
I can't believe the boring bit, because my only complaint with The Irishman was that it's Netflix.
Yeah.
Going to be honest with you, I would have loved to have seen that at the cinema.
Yeah.
I think that was a big screen movie, and unfortunately, and we can't take it away from Netflix, they produced it and put the money up. But
Yeah.
it needed to be longer on the big screen for
Yeah.
people to see it, not a week. We didn't want a week.
Well, wasn't that just so that it qualified for the Oscars and stuff, wasn't it? But
but it would be high up in, well, it'd just be, it's a great movie. I'm not going to lie. I think it's a fantastic movie. And I think it was unjustly criticised myself, because
I think so.
I didn't know the story of Hoffa. Did you?
No, the only thing I've ever known is that, the punchline of where's Jimmy Hoffa buried.
Yeah.
It's always like a punchline in things. And I thought, well,
exactly.
And I know that didn't Jack Nicholson play Jimmy Hoffa in a movie?
And I watched that year. I've only ever seen that once. I don't remember anything about it.
No.
And it's an infamous name, and we all needed to find out a bit more. And I think it was a great story. And I really enjoyed it. I couldn't understand the criticisms of that.
Yeah. Okay, then Neil, you're number 9.
So it's The Departed.
That's my number 9.
Yeah, wow. This film dropped in and out for a bit, because I thought, do I put it in there because it's another remake?
Yeah.
Obviously. I'm a huge fan of Infernal Affairs. I think it's such a perfect movie. And I was worried, even that Scorsese with Nicholson, with DiCaprio, with Matt Damon, and he's got this stellar cast all the way through it. I thought, nah, is it going to be any good? And I watched it, and I have to admit, the first time I was like, I prefer the original. I can't get on board with this. And it was the second viewing then that I thought, no, hang on, I'm taking this away from what it really is. This is his remake, and it's a Scorsese movie, and it's fantastic. And fantastic film. No.
Well, I only saw it for the first time about 2 months ago.
Right. So it's fresher in your mind than me.
It's fresh, yeah. But the thing I had is that, like, everyone you spoke to, or everyone I spoke to, everything you see in any website or whatever is what a masterpiece The Departed is. So I had it up on this high pedestal. So when the movie finished, I thought, well, that wasn't as special as I thought it was going to be. So I remember going to work the following day, and somebody had said to me, "Oh, did you watch The Departed?" And I said, "Yeah, what a load of shit that was." Yeah. And he went, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, it finished, and I thought, oh. But the more and more I think about it, the more I get farther away from watching it, the more I think, actually, it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it was a second viewing,
and it's got some great performances in it. And maybe I just didn't quite give it maybe it's because so many people said how great it was. I thought I was expecting Citizen Kane or Star Wars, or something that was going to blow me away, and it just didn't. And I think the more, like you say, if I watch it the second time, I think I'm going to appreciate it a lot more. I didn't realize, like you said, how many sort of famous people, Alec Baldwin, Martin Sheen, Ray Winston. It was like chock-a-block with people that, So it was. The more I think about it, I mean, that's why I'm sure that people will look at our top 10s and go, "Oh my God, why is it only number 9? It should be way higher." So it's kind of interesting that you had the same kind of reaction to me.
Yeah, the first time.
It's in the top 10. But it's just not quite as high as I think a lot of people would think it should be.
But my thing is, I'm a huge fan of the original, the Asian.
I've never seen that as well.
So I would highly recommend seeing it. And number 2, such great movies.
Really
are. Well, obviously, the plot with watching The Departed is exactly the same, but that's done so well. So well, those movies.
Okay.
But I think that's why it's solid number 1. The first watch for me is because I was such a huge fan of the original, and I probably thought, nah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the second one that we've got that's the same. So what's your number 8 then, Neil?
So it's The Wolf of Wall Street.
Wow, okay.
This one really did take me a while to... Not a while. This took me a couple of views to actually appreciate it for what it is. When I first watched it, I thought, what fucking horrible people. Do you know what I mean? What?
Oh, yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
watching a bunch of absolute. Oh, I nearly said the C word. We're watching
You can say it if you want, Neil.
Well, we're watching a bunch of cunts. That really, really don't warrant us watching. I've got no empathy for him, and I like empathy. But then I watched it a second time, and I started to understand and see where Scorsese was making his point of what it is.
Scorsese.
Yeah, and yeah, and it grew, and then I suddenly realised that the people involved, like Jonah Hill, is bloody brilliant in that film. All right, it goes without saying, DiCaprio is just. I think he is our new De Niro, isn't he? He's a brilliant actor. You can knock him for whatever you want. The bloke is a bloody genius on screen. And another 3-hour movie. And we can't forget Margot Robbie's sort of debut in a film, isn't it? Really? I mean, I know she's done bits before, but this is her breakthrough. And it was always nice to see all of her.
Oh, man. I mean, she was like hot.
Yeah.
In that movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the thing is with that movie is that it borders on being a bit of a cartoon.
Nearly, in places, yeah.
And I don't know how much of it is absolutely true to life and how much of it has been dramatized. Yeah, but I think that's the whole point of it, is the fact that you see what they got up to in that company and you think, well, they must have over-egged that, because there's no way that a company, would have done that, throwing dwarves and targets.
Well, apparently that was true.
But a lot of it, exactly, a lot of it is true. But I think the point is that he's doing this to show you that you think that this is all made up. Actually, that really happened. Those kind of things really happened. So, it ends up being a bit of a, like I say, a split between a cartoon and a biography, if you like. But
I wouldn't say it's as easy a watch as other Scorsese movies to me.
But
because
there are also like real high moments of comedy.
Yeah,
in it when they're taking the Quaaludes and
that's hilarious.
And DiCaprio's trying to get in the car or just trying to talk is hilarious. But and
it grew on me the more I saw it. I mean, just like I said, the first time I watched it, I thought, what an unpleasant film.
Yeah,
I genuinely did. I thought, wow, you've made an unpleasant film. And I don't like unpleasant films.
And there's nobody really that's in the movie a long time that's there to root for.
Yeah.
Nearly everybody in the movie is either greedy, just absolute assholes, or both.
Yeah, and it's number 8 because of McConaughey's hair. It's just massive. I like that bouffant. And of course, he was putting weight on from where he'd lost all that weight from the Dallas Buyers Club, or whatever it was, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
And he looked a bit odd to hold Matthew McConaughey in that one, but yeah, what a movie! It's great now, and I'll leave it on when it comes on telly, which I never used to. Yeah. Seems to be one they repeat on the TV more than any other.
Okie dokie, that's your number 8. My number 8, and again, this, like The Departed, this is one that probably the Scorsese fans would say should be higher, but I'm going Raging Bull at number 8.
Well, that is my number 4.
That's your number 4. I thought it would be high. Now, I've only ever seen this movie once.
It's great,
but again, it is a bona fide classic.
Yeah.
I watched it once. And when the movie finished, I thought, that is a great movie. But I've never, ever had any inkling to go back and watch it again.
Oh, I would highly recommend it, especially now with there's a 4K restoration on Blu-ray.
Is there?
And it's stunning what they've done to it, and fascinating with all the extras on it. So I'd highly recommend that one. But also, it's as biopics go, apparently they got it really quite close to what he was, Jake LaMotta was really like. If you want a masterclass in acting, this is the movie. To see what De Niro did as well, I would recommend anybody who's into acting or would like to think they could act, watch that and see what that man did, because that weight at the end of the film is really him. Really fat.
Yeah. I've always said that, again, if you go into like the Mount Rushmore of or movies that if you wanted to be an actor you put on, because Raging Bull is one of them. Glenn Ross is another one. that you can just sit back and not and just look. I've always thought that acting on the surface level looks like it should be easy because you're just learning words and stuff. But when you try and do it yourself, it always sounds like you're, hello, how are you? And it always sounds like you're a robot. Yet these guys, when they act, just sounds like they're talking normally. And, and it's just a normal conversation. And you think, how do they do that? How do they do that? And and that's when just talking normally, when you've got to put emotion into it, which is something. Do you think that this is the De Niro Scorsese fave, like the best of their collaborations?
No, probably not.
No,
to me. But where it is at number 4, and I say 1 to 4 could move up and down.
Right. Okay.
But
I thought because it was as high as it was. That's interesting.
No,
okay.
I mean, yes and no in a sense, but the fact that it's still another 3-hour movie, it's non-apologetic, stunningly shot.
Yeah,
you've got Joe Pesci when he first, he wasn't really known then.
No. Black and white.
Fantastic black and white. A film that is not apologetic in taking its time to tell the story, and
being brutal in places, not just in the ring.
Yeah, Christ in the home life.
Yeah,
some of that is uncomfortable to watch, but it's part of the course. You need to see it. You can't take it away.
And do you think? Because I felt this with Schindler's List as well. Because it's black and white, it almost feels like it's a documentary.
Yeah.
So when it is that home violence. It's, and I don't know, is that something that is like subconscious in the way, because it's black and white, it makes you feel like it doesn't feel like it's a movie, so you feel like you're peeking into somebody's life.
The only time I felt more uncomfortable with that one is Nil by Mouth,
right?
Kathy Burke and Ray Winston. If you've ever seen that, that's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah, absolutely. And that makes Raging Bull look not as bad as you think it is. But no, I think you might be right there. I might be onto something. I think absolutely that might be the case for it.
Well, thank you very much, Neil. It's nice to finally say something that is right.
You always say something right.
So that's my number 8. So your number 7 then, please, Neil.
So this is 70s Scorsese.
Okay.
And it's probably I would say his breakthrough film that introduced everybody. You could argue that it was a breakthrough for Robert De Niro. Definitely it's Harvey Keitel's film. It's Mean Streets.
Okay.
Now you see, I hold this in high regard because I think this was might have been the first ever of his movies that I saw.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But again, it's something you need to come back and appreciate if you've not seen it in a long time. De Niro being the young whippersnapper that he is in that movie, which is quite a lunatic. He's obviously the live wire. Harvey Keitel is the straight one, I suppose. It's his movie.
I've never seen it, by the way.
Have you not? I won't say too much because I don't want. I would really recommend it because you'll see where Martin Scorsese was learning his vision. There's this whole scene with when Keitel's drunk. And the way Scorsese videoed it, right on his face, and they're walking through. Have you ever seen those sort of film shots where they're walking, but they're being filmed head on?
Right.
He's drunk, and I've never known somebody do drunk so well on film because you think, Jesus Christ, he's drunk. He must have been really drunk filming that. And also, we don't mention Keitel enough as being such a good actor. To me, it's his movie, that one. And it just showcases, and I think he's been underused a lot, and it was nice to see him back in The Irishman. It really was, because I haven't watched the Keitel's The Tattooist of Auschwitz or whatever.
It's supposed to be good.
My dad said to me, "How come you've not watched this yet? It's so good." And I must get onto that because I'm a huge Harvey Keitel fan as well. I think the guy.
Harvey Keitel.
Did I say Garvey? Harvey Keitel.
You said Harvey Keitel.
I got the wrong teeth in. Excuse me while I take another line.
And I was just thinking to myself, we've not said anything yet that I can use as the promo for the episode.
There it is.
Neil's there straight away.
You know Carvey Hightail.
Harvey Keitel.
Carvey Hightail. Yeah, but anyway, he's an underappreciated actor, that Carvey Hightail.
And that's why we love Neil.
That's stick now. That's stick.
Oh, bless your heart.
But there you are. There's one for your list because you need to see that.
Okay, Mean Streets on the list. Okay, yeah. My number 7, and I'm not sure if this was the next movie after Mean Streets, but I'm going for Taxi Driver.
I'll talk about that later.
Okay, I thought you might. It's again. I think I've only ever seen it. I've seen it probably maybe 1.5 times. Because it's not. I don't think it's a movie that you can rewatch for enjoyment. And it is. For me, it is everything about. Now that was 70s, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, about 76. I think
it feels to me like it is the quintessential 70s movie. It's that dirty, gritty. Just has that horror, that kind of the sheen of the way that the movie looks is just straight from the 70s. There's nothing colourful about it. No. You know what I mean? Even the most colourful thing in it just looks washed out and typically 70s. It's all browns and greens and greys.
And it's a lot of night because obviously that's where he is at night, isn't he? Doing his taxi driving.
And again, it's got a lot of unsettling stuff in it. It's got an amazing performance from Robert De Niro.
Yeah, Jodie Foster.
A
young Jodie Foster.
But it's one of those movies that I think it's again, if you said to somebody Scorsese, 9 times out of 10 someone's going to say Taxi Driver in their top 3 because it's just one of those movies. Didn't quite make it that high for me, but I think it's because of the rewatchability of it.
It's not a comfortable watch.
It's not.
And the more you see it, and the more, I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen this movie because obviously I love to introduce people who think they love movies into this one because I think anybody that's a cinephile and loves the films and everything, this should be on their list straight away.
It's one of those. It's one of those movies that if you class yourself a movie fan, you should see.
And it's not for like with these sort of what do they call it? Continuity. I mean, when De Niro gives himself the mohawk, it's up and down on the old short, long. But you forgive it for those sort of things when you get a performance from De Niro. Sybil Shepherd, how great and beautiful she was. Peter Boyle, he's in that. And also the more you watch it, the more I feel. I mean, I could talk about this later, but I'm going to do it now because I'm in the flow. The more you feel Travis Bickle's pain. The guy's a Vietnam vet. He's come back to what was once a lovely place, and he's come back, and now all he sees is this violence, this nastiness. He has to endure, like Martin Scorsese himself sat in the back of the cab when they're watching that person up in the window is a complete fucking prick and nasty and horrible.
Yeah.
And we forget how good an actor Martin Scorsese is as well, because he's really good in that film. And then we get to Harvey Keitel with the young Jodie Foster. And if you don't feel uncomfortable seeing those two together, you is seriously wrong, my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Harvey Keitel is one of the most sinister movie people I think I've ever seen, with that long little fingernail. Yeah, so great. And that ending, and then he becomes the hero. You think, well, understandably. And one of the greatest sort of tagline, I wish the rain would wash all the scum off.
Yeah, I need to watch it again. I think I need to definitely give it another go. Yeah. Okay, that was my number 7. So your number 6 then, please, Neil.
Gangs of New York.
Okay, that's my number 5.
Okie dokie. Again, this is one that I grew to love more than I originally did, because at first I thought it was almost pantomime, when they're wearing these great big top hats and, they're smoking these long clay pipes and it all looks like almost colourful. And the whole thing like that with this colour. And then I realised that the more I realised they did actually wear that sort of clothes. And again, it's another 3-hour movie. But this one didn't. When I saw it on the big screen, I was blown away, but I was almost like, okay, it's too much to ingest. And it took me a while, and I grew to love it more and more, especially with the performances. Like Liam Neeson at the beginning, that first battle at the beginning, you've got to remember with, Bill the Butcher and whatever his name was. Daniel Day-Lewis. Boom. Again, another masterclass in acting. That guy, there's nothing he couldn't do, was there? And do you think he's ever made a Duff film?
I mean, I haven't seen all of his films. I was going to say that the reason this is in my top 10 is 3 words: Daniel Day-Lewis. He is one of the most watchable actors.
Yeah.
I think this performance, obviously, There Will Be Blood. I don't know. I mean, I haven't, like I say, I haven't seen all of Daniel Day-Lewis.
Have you ever seen the Phantom Thread? The last one?
I haven't. No.
You see, and then you think of something like Gangs of New York and those sort of movies, and then you see There Will Be Blood, which is all sort of performance, and then you watch something like the Phantom Thread, and you think, what a performance, and sort of subtle performance, and it's
really?
Great,
is it?
Great film.
Yeah, I've never.
Yeah, I'd recommend that one.
I mean, Nine wasn't a particularly good.
That was is that the musical, isn't it?
I'm not.
I think he did that. I think it was. Yeah, I think it's a musical. I think it was Rob Marshall, wasn't it? Directed that.
I think it was.
Yeah, I have seen that, but then that's not. I wouldn't say that was a Daniel Day-Lewis movie. I think he did that for the money, to be honest.
Yeah, Rob Marshall. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's The Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
Lincoln. He does such a varied amount of things. My Left Foot. Yeah. But for me, to have somebody, I mean, it was great to have Leonardo DiCaprio going up against them, against Daniel Day-Lewis. I really enjoyed this film, and because again, it's like, and again, 3 hours long.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to fit loads of stuff in a short space of time. It gives it time to. It's an epic movie,
and brutal. Again, another
brutal, absolutely brutal.
And that bit, did you ever see the documentary? It always makes me wince. You know when he touches the knife on his arm?
Yeah.
He actually did that, didn't he? With that bloody. How did he do that?
But don't you think that's just Daniel Day-Lewis in a nutshell? Is that he will do things because he just is that character for the amount of time that they're making those movies.
I mean, I understand it had a contact lens, blah, blah, but he still tapped it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that knife comes to my face and instantly I just don't think I could ever do that in a month of Sunday.
I know it's a completely different kind of film, but you know, in Mission Impossible 2, you know that moment when Tom Cruise is on the floor having that fight with Matey Boy at the end?
Oh, what, Doug Ray Scott?
And he puts that knife right next to his eye.
Yeah.
Right. And they showed that what it was, that knife was on some kind of vice thing that Tom Cruise had to like slide up so that it was like the knife wouldn't move.
Right.
But you look at it and it's like, I don't know, 5 millimeters from his eye. But I'm thinking to myself, what if he just sneezed?
Yeah.
And just like that, and his head went up and just gets him in the eye. And it's not. There's no special effect. It's not CGI'd there. That was the knife was physically there. So it's the same kind of thing. What if somebody just a bloody set designer just happened to be walking past Daniel Day-Lewis when they're just practicing that and accidentally taps him on the fucking arm, and all of a sudden gouges his eye out. I'm not going to sleep now, Neil, because I'll just keep thinking of that.
But wow. Change it away. Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz, yeah.
In Gangs of New York. She's really good.
Yeah.
She's really good.
Stephen Graham is in it as well.
Yeah. And again, it's Leo.
You got Eddie Marson, David Hemmings. There's a lot of those British actors, those faces. John C. Was it John C. McGinley was in it as well? John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly.
I was going to say
Henry Thomas.
Oh, was he?
He was in it as well. Brendan Gleeson. Stephen Graham, Eddie Marson. Yeah, so it's a lot of faces that you would recognise. But yeah, such a good film. That's your number 6. That was my number 5. My number 6 was Cape Fear. So it's time for this.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Ooh.
Pop quiz, hot shot. So let's see how you are. Now, you may have come across some of these answers during your research for the facts.
Well,
so
maybe.
Unfortunately, obviously, I can't. I wrote these ages ago. I didn't know what Neil's facts were. So let's see how Neil gets on with these. Are you ready, Neil?
I am.
How many times has Scorsese collaborated with Robert De Niro up to now?
10.
Right, so now I got 8.
So then we got my facts.
Did it say 10?
Yeah, on the fact. Where did I get it? Yeah, Robert De Niro on 10 films.
Okay, I'm going to give you that because I mean, I take it from somewhere. It might be that fact, may be old from where I
Or
was.
maybe there's like, because you got the Flowers of the Killer Moon. Maybe it hasn't got that new movie on
yeah,
there.
maybe, and then maybe the
Irishman as well.
But I'll give you the point for that one. Which movie did Scorsese finally win a directing Oscar?
Well, I knew it anyway before the facts was The Departed, which I think is an absolute outrage that he got the Oscar for that and not.
But he got it. That's the main thing.
Well, that's the main thing. But you know full well it was just an honorary Oscar.
Yeah.
Which
Number
was a bit
3.
of a kick.
Who presented him with that Oscar?
Trying to think what the year was.
It would have been 2007.
Well, it's usually the director from the past. Was it? All right, was it Jack Nicholson there? Yeah, I can't remember.
No, it was Spielberg, Lucas, and Coppola.
There you go. The School of Directors all together.
Number 4, Roman Polanski, Billy Wilder, and Scorsese were the 3 directors approached to direct which 1993 movie?
Billy Wilder. Who else was it? Yeah.
Roman Polanski, Billy Wilder, and Scorsese.
I genuinely don't know.
It was Schindler's List.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't see what's his name doing it.
Billy Wilder.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe you just got all the SS people to dress up as women. Maybe I don't know. Number 5, Scorsese directed Michael Jackson's Bad music video.
He did.
How long in minutes was the full video?
It was something like 17 minutes, wasn't it? It was quite a long thing or something.
16 minutes. So close. Number 6, what was the name of the Rolling Stones concert movie which he directed?
You can see the cover. Christ, I'm going to kick myself now. Don't overthink. Just let it naturally come into your mind. I start overthinking, it goes further and further away.
That's the way it goes.
Is it Start Me Up? No, it's not, is it?
It's Shine a Light.
Light, yeah.
Number 7, Goodfellas lost out to Best Film Oscar to which movie in 1990?
It was something like, what was it? Something, was it Ordinary? No, that's 1980. That was Raging Bull. I was going to say Ordinary People. I can't remember. No, we could be here all night.
It was Dances with Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
Number 8, which movie was his first to gross $100 million in the United States?
Color of Money.
It was The Aviator.
Oh, was it really?
Yes. Number 9, Scorsese has directed 2 remakes. What are they?
Cape Fear and The Departed.
Is correct. And the final one, why is the address 6801 Hollywood Boulevard relevant to Scorsese?
Is that where he first lived? I don't know.
It's where his star is on the Walk of Fame.
Okay.
So you got 3, you got 30%, Neil.
That's not too bad.
Which is not too bad. That's the normal sort of go-to score. So well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Did I sound patronising enough then when I said well done?
If you could try just a little bit harder.
I'll try next time. I'll try a bit harder. Okay, so your number 5 then, please, Neil.
Is Casino.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know people just think it's a Goodfellas ripoff, and I understand that because it's got the same style, the same narration, but it's written by the same people. You can't expect much more. Take away those sort of qualities to that and look at it as almost a history lesson in his own way. And again, great performances. De Niro, understated in this one, sort of, as a casino owner. Joe Pesci, again, is a complete psychopath. But who else does that so well? And can we all remember that Vice scene in Casino?
You'll have to remind me.
Pesci's got that, and his hoods have got that guy's head in the vice, haven't they?
Cool. I thought you meant vice as in like.
No, that's one of the most grim scenes. Those eyes.
Yes.
Oh. It's another 3-hour movie, but I actually think Sharon Stone is a revelation in this one. She's so good in this film. I just found it non-stop fascinating. And I don't care about the voiceovers on that. When it's being done so well by the likes of Pesci and then De Niro and all on board. Yeah, it's so good. James Woods is in that as well.
He is. He plays Lester Diamond.
He's the guy that...
Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Alan King, Kevin Pollak.
Yeah, some fantastic actors. But yeah, I really, really like this. And then to read the book, which remember in the day you could buy your VHS when it came out released. You could get special editions. Some of them would have like a free gift or whatever of something. But this one came with the book that the film was based on. So I read it afterwards and realized that he'd done such a great job bringing everything that was allegedly happened there to the forefront, and in the movie it's fascinating. It's fascinating stuff.
I've not seen this for a long time. The trouble I have with this movie is that there are scenes in this and in Goodfellas that I think are in each other's movie,
and I can understand why. But...
and that's the problem I have, is that like if I'd have watched this back again, I probably would have this in my top 10. But the trouble is, I think all of my favorite scenes from Casino are actually in Goodfellas.
Right.
So I think that's my problem with it. Is just it's without watching the movies again, it's hard to distinguish between the two. You can't go wrong, and you're absolutely right in the fact that like Joe Pesci is very unsettling, just as he was in Goodfellas. So it's kind of
probably even more so in this one.
Probably, and I think probably has to be to differentiate between his characters in the two movies.
But like I said, if you read then the book that it's based on, and you see and you read the things that guy was like, he's not probably being over the top.
Right.
This guy was literally a psychopath with massive amount of power in a casino. You know, how many bodies this guy left in the desert? Nobody knows. But
I mean, like I say, it didn't make my top 10, but only because I haven't seen it for a long, long time, and I think because I haven't seen it for a long time, I'd have Goodfellas in there instead of Casino.
Yeah. No, I would highly recommend going back and watching it.
And the other thing that put me off as well is the moment when Robert De Niro gets in his car and then it blows up.
Oh, yeah.
You can see the cut when he has been exchanged for some dummy
in
the car. And I thought, God, surely they could have done that better.
Do you know, I've never noticed that.
Have you not? Watch it again. I'll put it in the video playlist for our Patreon subscribers. That it just like it is so. It lives in another movie that I'll mention in a couple of spaces time.
Right.
With the things that don't quite look right on screen. You know, it's just really, it really. Very first time I watched it, I thought, "Wow, they could have done that better." Surely,
I genuinely didn't notice.
Oh wow, okay. So that was your number 5. My number 5 was Gangs of New York. Your number 4 was Raging Bull.
Yeah.
My number 4, I'm going for the aforementioned Goodfellas.
That's my number 2.
That's your number 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now again, I haven't watched this movie as much as I probably should do, as being somebody that is a movie fan. And like I say, I can't remember the last time I watched this movie. It's been a while. But I don't know whether the bits that I really love in this movie are in this movie or in Casino. That's my trouble.
We need to refresh.
Is this the one where Joe Pesci is going to be a made man and then gets shot in the back of the head?
Yeah.
That's this one. That isn't
no,
Casino.
That's this one, yeah.
Okay. And obviously, De Niro is great in it, and then Ray Liotta is great in it.
It's a revelation in it, I think.
And it's also another movie that you don't watch if you're hungry, because some of the food that they make in it, which I think
especially in the prison.
Yeah, like Scorsese's mum is
does the meals, the meatloaf. And can I borrow your knife?
Yeah, but
there's a deer stuck in my grill. And it's not. I've watched this movie probably more than any other Scorsese movie. This
really.
One. Because I find it one of those films that we speak about them all the time. It's an anytime film.
Right.
So if it started 10 minutes in, I'll watch it from the beginning. I'll watch the last half an hour. Henry Hill, wasn't it? The guy that was based on. If you want to see, apart from probably The Godfather, this is up there as seeing one of the greatest gangster movies told through the period.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a childhood, how he became involved. It's fascinating. Great acting, great dialogue. Joe Pesci again, the little psychopath. Funny how.
Yeah.
That great scene, which is, you're thinking, what the fuck is this bloke on about? Keep doing this to, obviously winding him up, but yeah,
it shows you the glamour of that world, but also obviously the bad side of that world as well.
I mean,
once you're in, you're in. The only way you get out is by dying or being killed,
or put into witness protection that you can never live a life again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like he did. And it's a great story of why not to take drugs in there as well, with his addiction, Ray Liotta's character. Yeah, fantastic. What's her name? Who played Ray Liotta's wife? Lorraine Bracco?
Bracco, yeah.
Yeah, she was so good in this. So good. And Paul Savini again.
Yeah, Paul Savino then is, but when you look on IMDb, it's all those faces are all the usual faces that are in those like gangstery movies. You've got that Frank Vincent who was also in Casino as well.
Yeah,
all of the same kind of faces that you think, right, I've seen them in so many gangster kind of movies. They get typecast to those kind of movies, but I guess they don't mind because they're getting work, aren't they? And it's
perfectly done,
absolutely perfectly done. But yeah,
really
only made my number 4, but I thought,
and it gives me a belly laugh in it as well. Goodfellas, which you probably forgot, is the bit where Robert De Niro says, "Look, we've got to stop here. I've got to get this money from this bloke. He owes me. I'm not letting him off anymore." And then they go into the guy, and he's the wig guy, and he jumps in the pool, showing you how great his wig is. And then it comes out, and you'll see Robert De Niro strangling him with the telephone cable, and his wig's just going like that. And Ray Liotta's Henry Hill is just pissing himself laughing. It's actually a really funny scene.
Oh, that's good.
Even though it's violent.
Yeah,
the violence isn't funny, but
no.
The rest of it is.
No. May I say on behalf of the Top 10 of Anything podcast, in no way does Neil condone violence.
Not at all. I'm a
unless, of course, you wear a wig. Then if you do,
well, I might laugh.
You might laugh.
I wouldn't condone the violence.
No. So that was my number 4. You're number 2. So Neil, you're number 3, please.
King of Comedy.
That's my number 3.
Yeah, this is one of the most unspoken about, unless you're a movie buff, Scorsese film, and I love this film. Rupert Pupkin. They used the principle of it, which was fantastic in The Joker, didn't they? The Joaquin Phoenix with Robert De Niro and sort of role reversed. You can see where it's coming from. I just think it's fantastic. It's only a PG. There's no bad language in it. Jerry Lewis is like a revelation in it, and so good. De Niro, again, who saw a role like that coming after everything we've seen from him before?
Exactly.
And you feel for him, but you also think, well, what a fucking lunatic, man, the amount of tape he uses on him. But I just, again, it's more performance driven. I like it so much, and obviously the story, but it's De Niro carries this film all the way through, doesn't he? Really, Sandra Bernhard.
Yeah. Because I can remember when I was a kid, I used to love watching Jerry Lewis movies.
Yeah,
because they were just like stupid, especially like his 60s movies. They were like
50s
and 60s movies.
Slapstick, weren't they?
With Dean Martin, they were very slapstick, a very almost like an American Carry On kind of movie. So I remember watching this the first time. I thought, oh, Jerry Lewis is in it. This is going to be like a rip-roaring comedy. This is going to be so... And then I watched it and I thought, well, this isn't... And it's called The King of Comedy. So you think, oh, this is going to be laugh a minute and hi, you flavin' or something. And it wasn't that at all. And I think the first time I watched it, I wasn't particularly enamored with it. But then I watched it when I was a little bit older, and you appreciate the fact that it is all about obsession. And it's all about someone, which I mean, I think it's even more so these days because you can potentially talk to your favorite famous person on Twitter or on social media. They are one tweet away from you being able to contact them. In those days, you know, you'd have to hunt them down, and if you got in front of them, you'd say something that wouldn't help their day one little bit. But it's the obsession of him thinking that, you know, this guy can help it's when he's talking to Sandra Bernhardt and saying, you know, me and Jerry this and me and Jerry that.
That's it, yeah.
He's got this in his mind that they are the greatest of friends and that he's going to help him with his career. And it's heartbreaking, obviously, but it is.
And there's some sort of crossover from Rupert Pupkin and Travis Bickle as well in a lot of ways. But it's a PG-friendly film. I mean, that's what I'll say. If you just don't worry about it. If your kids are into movies, let them watch this because it's a great story.
But it's another string to De Niro's bow. Like you say, you wouldn't expect to see him or something like that. And obviously he'd go on and do things like Midnight Run and stuff that had a bit more humour in it and stuff. And Meet the Fockers, I think for me was more of a cash grab, if you like. I mean,
he always said, didn't he? Yeah, I think he took the Harvey Keitel school of thought. One for them, one for me.
Yeah, exactly.
But no,
that's weird that we've both got.
And it flopped, didn't it, when it first came out?
Absolutely,
really bombed. And I think, Christ, like you said, but people probably thought a Jerry Lee Lewis movie, King of Comedy. We're in for a slapstick and a ride, and that's where I think a lot of it went wrong.
And like you say, with the Joker, and that is weird that kind of same thing played out.
I think on purpose. I think Todd Phillips did it completely on purpose because obviously getting De Niro to play that Jerry Lewis role, really.
Without a doubt. Okay, so that's so number 2 is Goodfellas, which we've just spoken about. My number 2, I'm going for Shutter Island.
Okay, this nearly made my top 10.
And that is one of those movies. I remember watching it the first time. I think we went to the cinema and watched it.
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah.
And I kept saying to the wife, I said that the continuity in this is fucking bullshit. I said that woman at the table then, just a minute ago, her coffee cup was full. Now it's empty. I said, this is a proper movie. This is a Scorsese movie, and they can't even keep an eye on. Like 1 minute there's a cup there, next minute there's not a cup there. I'm thinking this, and it took me out of the movie because I thought, and then it got to the end of it, and we were talking about it. I thought, that's the whole fucking point.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. It wasn't by mistake. You know?
See, I didn't twig to that until the second viewing.
Did you not?
Engrossed. I think being at the cinema, I was so engrossed. I was like, it pulled the rug straight out from under me. I didn't see the twist.
I think it was only because we were talking about it afterwards that we sort of, and then we were saying, well, you know, was he really crazy? Was he really like, or did he know at the end that he was going to go and, you know, spoilers, that he's going to go and get lobotomized? Because when he's DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo are having that final cigarette together, and he says something like, "Would you rather?" Was it die a free man or die a good man or live being a bad man or something like that?
Right.
And then Ruffalo realizes, hang on a minute, he's not fucking crazy. He knows what's going on. And then they take him off, I'm assuming, to be lobotomized. I mean, it's a dark movie. It's got some really dark bits on it. But I thought Ben Kingsley is great in it because it's DiCaprio. You want to be on his side, so you believe everything that he's saying.
Yeah,
you know, and it's such a great turnaround.
It really is. It's a great twist. It's a great twist,
and it is definitely watch 2 or 3 times because you see. It's a bit like The Sixth Sense. When you watch that a second time, you see all the clues, and you don't see it.
There in front of
you. You don't see it the first time. All I thought about it was shit continuity. And,
I didn't even notice.
The continuity editor needs to really be sacked. Basically.
Yeah.
But that's my number 2. Okay, before we reveal our number 1s then, Neil, give us a rundown from 10 to 2, and then I'll do the same.
Absolutely. So at number 10, I've got Cape Fear.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Pause for effect.
Yeah, no, I nearly belched. Excuse me. So number 10, Cape Fear. Number 9, The Departed. Number 8, The Wolf of Wall Street. Number 7, Mean Streets. Number 6, Gangs of New York. Number 5, Casino. Number 4, Raging Bull. Number 3, King of Comedy. And number 2, Goodfellas.
Wonderful. Mine is number 10, The Irishman. 9, The Departed. 8, Raging Bull. 7, Taxi Driver. 6, Cape Fear. 5, Gangs of New York. 4, Goodfellas. 3, King of Comedy. And 2, Shutter Island. So, Neil, what is your Taxi Driver? Your number 1.
I've pretty much already spoken about it. I'll say it's Taxi Driver. Again, any of these top 4 could have shuffled around on the varying dependent of mood. But I put this one because this is the one I've seen a lot of times. Not that it really is a movie that warrants seeing a lot of times, but I get mesmerized by De Niro's performance in this. I really do. The fact that that was unscripted, you talking to me, is just superb.
Yeah.
You know, I just almost have actor envy to be able to do something like that and make it seem so real, and also psychotic. Like I said before, I think Travis Bickle at the end of it is quite under sort of, we don't sympathize with him enough when you're watching the movie the first few times, and then I start to realize that shit, you know, there's days where I feel like, not that I'm going to go out and shoot a load of whatever pimps and johns and everything. No, I meant in the fact of, we don't want this shit. Travis Bickle's outlook is like, let's be all right. Or, okay, he fucks things up by taking Sybil Shepherd to her first date. He doesn't know. He's PTSD probably.
Yeah.
He takes her to the porn show, doesn't he? And ruins that relationship and everything. But, yeah, it's just a fantastic movie. And I would say if you haven't seen it in a long time, go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's, 70s saturated movie, but it needs to be.
Yeah. Great. That's that. Yeah, because that was my number. What do I have that as? Number 7, but that's Neil's number 1. And my number 1 is one that was your number 8, Neil. Is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, okay.
So I think that the movie is just. I was going to say, I think it's the most comedic of
sure,
Scorsese's movies.
Yeah.
But it is just, like I said earlier on, it's like a cartoon. There are so many bits on it that are just totally ridiculous that I think that's built into the story that makes you think, well, this obviously wasn't real. And the majority of the excess that Jordan Belfort did was real.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit like you with a couple of the movies you said that if it's on, I would just let it just play. Because it's got some hilarious moments in it. It's got some really shitty moments. Because like you say, there is nobody there with good morals.
No.
Everybody is just horrible, greedy, selfish. And you kind of think that you hope that Jordan Belfort gets his comeuppance at the end, which he kind of does. I mean, he's obviously made shitloads of money from whatever books he's done, and he's I think he's like a speaker, an inspirational speaker and things like that. So has he really learned anything from being in prison for a while? I don't think he has. But you know, I don't know him. I'm only going by what I see on the movie. But for me, it's my favorite Scorsese movie.
You see, but we also know that they're complete and utter gits. The majority of people we're seeing on here, but for some reason, the way it's done, you understand it. But the first time I sort of almost didn't. I just thought, how unpleasant are all these people? And I don't like not to have any empathy for anyone. But when you watch it again, you sort of do get some empathy out of it. I don't know quite how to explain where, but you don't feel that, you know, like I said, I watched that TV series Euphoria. People will probably slate me for this, but I didn't give a shit about not one of those characters. I thought they were all just horrible. Nasty and horrible. And the one redeeming character I didn't think was horrible and nasty was supposed to be the bad guy who was a drug dealer.
Oh, right.
The guy that died.
Well,
in
Neil,
real
I think
life.
that says more about you than it does about anybody else.
Yeah, well, maybe. But this one, it's got an edge. And I would say, if you've never seen, and it's a strong 18, which was nice to see Scorsese go back to.
Yeah.
You know, we like the excesses and
absolutely.
Enjoy ourselves a bit.
There's no point in sugarcoating things like that.
Yeah.
You know, it needs to be balls out. That's what it needs to be. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, some honorable mentions. Paul Osgood said Raging Bull. John Nichols said Goodfellas easily. Mark Kempner. Oh, Mark
Oh,
said
hello,
good
Mark.
fellas. Rick Tyndall says all of them. Kim Peniston says welcome back, Neil.
Hello, Kim. Love you, Kim.
At Southern View said has to be Cape Fear, hugely overblown and bombastic, but also terrifying and relentless. Dale Richards said Goodfellas. Kim Mendes, The Departed and Goodfellas. David Diaz said Mean Streets, Cape Fear, The King of Comedy, The Aviator, The Departed, Goodfellas, Gangs of New York, Bring Out the Dead, which was the Nick Cage one.
Yeah, that's actually a lot better than people. Isn't it Ving Rhames as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Colour of Money and Taxi Driver. That's off the top of my head, but these are my top 10. Thank you, David. That's it, Neil. We've done it. We've done top 10 Scorsese movies in the books. Tick it off. And
I really, really enjoy doing that one because I just love a Scorsese movie.
And now what we need to do is do the top 10 Harvey Keitel movies.
Could we, please?
Yes. Might be a bit of a struggle trying to find them on IMDb. But,
my favourite movie is The Lad Buchanan. The Lad.
Maybe we should do that. We should just do one where it's all movies like that. Oh, God. I don't think I can be able to keep it up for an whole hour. Oh, so okay. But before we say our goodbyes, Neil, do you want to do the links? And
I'd love to.
Go
you know
on
me.
then. Fire away.
I'm going to start here. Is find us on all the social medias at Top 10 Pods. Come and give us a click, give us a like, give us a follow. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com. You can ask us any questions you'd like to, which would be nice to hear from you. Come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/top10pods. All sorts of rewards up for grabs there. Also, I'd like to say to some of the Patreoners who've been contacting me recently, thank you very much for the support and the love you have sent me. It's been widely appreciated, and I hope I've shown that to you. Check out all the links via the Linktree. You can find the link in the show notes, and please come and subscribe, leave a rating and review wherever you get your podcast from.
And you see, that's how a professional does it. Instead of me just saying, just click the links on the thing. That's I can't be doing with all that gubbins. Neil is the guy for that. Neil, it's been wonderful to have you back again. And
It's been a joy.
See you very soon.
Yes, thank you very much, my sir.
And,
thank you very much, everyone.
Yes, thank you very much for watching and listening. And it's time to start the countdown. Harvey Keitel.